Hey guys, I hope you are having a wonderful Tuesday and a great start to your week. Today, as I promised in my post from this morning, I am going to talk about my favorite low-carb snacks. This is a question that I get asked about so much by my ladies, and then just even questions that I get in my private message box or my DM box on Instagram. And so I wanted to put this video out for you guys as far as what my favorite low-carb foods to eat and snack on the go are, and then also wanted to share some foods that are hiding carbs that you might be ingesting thinking that they're actually low carb. So if you're catching the replay, thank you so much for watching. My name is Lindsay Holsey. I'm a certified faster way to fat loss coach. I am the creator of Fast Track to Fit, and I am also a nurse, which is why I'm so passionate about the health and wellness industry. And my passion is to empower women to become the best versions of themselves by fueling their bodies with whole food nutrition, ditching the quick fix mindset, and jumping into a long-term lifestyle. And so today I wanted to go over some low-carb options that you guys can use. And if you've been following me for a while, you know that I am not an advocate for a long-term low-carb intake. That is detrimental to your adrenals, and it's something that I teach and preach with the Faster Way to Fat Loss in all of my programs. And so we actually only engage in 2 low-carb days a week. And actually today happens to be one of those carb days, and I'm not drained. I have tons of energy. I'm eating all of the food that I need, and I'm intaking it all by doing it low carb. So today, for my first favorite low carb snack to take on the go, and if you saw my Instagram stories at the beginning, actually it was on Sunday. I usually do my grocery hauls on Instagram on Sundays. You'll notice that I like to get things that are already ready to eat, so that I can just grab them and go, or when I look in the fridge, they're already ready. I don't have to prepare anything. And so that happens to be already boiled eggs. That is a great low carb option for on the go. And the reason that I like to get them already cooked, and they usually come, I got these from Whole Foods. And you can see I already have eaten 4 of them. I have 2 left for my low carb days. But I like to get those from Whole Foods, and they're actually in the Snap Kitchen little section of the refrigerated section, because the ones that come in the little baggies, I'm sorry, but they do not taste like eggs. And so I prefer these ones. They taste like real eggs. They taste like I boiled them by myself. But if you followed me for a while, you know that I cannot boil an egg. It's like the hardest thing for me to cook. I love cooking, I love baking, but I cannot boil a flippin' egg. So I prefer to buy those already packaged. So that's my first low carb snack. And then my next ones, and these are kind of a newfound love for me. So I like to get these Epic bars. And this one is the beef one, and then I also have the turkey version right here. And this one is the turkey, almond, and cranberry, and then this is the beef, apple, and uncured bacon. And so the carbohydrates on these are actually 4 total carbs. And so I'll go over how we kind of calculate net carbs at the end, but these are a great low carb option. And as you can see, they're super easy just to grab and go. I keep them in my pantry. And then they also, so Epic actually has a ton, like a whole line of different types of beef jerky. And so these are the single kind of the brick ones. And then they also have the stick kind as well. And I prefer the Wagyu beef. And this one only has 3 total carbs. And you guys, the ingredients on these are amazing. Again, when you're looking at things that are packaged, you want to make sure that it has less than 5 ingredients listed, and make sure that you can pronounce them. So this one has grass-fed Wagyu beef, wildflower honey, water, sea salt, black pepper, and garlic powder. And so if you were to go to the gas station and get like the beef jerky that's on the shelf, and you look at the ingredients, I mean, it almost takes up the entire back of the package. And so you want to make sure, even on your low carb days, that you're fueling your body with things that are going to help it and not hurt it. So no chemicals, no preservatives, just a real food. And that's what we talk about, and that's what we mean whenever, in all of my programs, I talk about eating real whole foods. And so these little Epic bars, they also have them in little packages, just like if you were to go to the gas station and get the package of beef jerky there. They actually have these. I found these ones, and actually Whole Foods was the store that had the most variety. I mean, any type of animal or anything that you prefer, you could probably find it in this Epic bar at Whole Foods. And then same thing with the sticks as well. So those are kind of my newfound love. And then the things that are a little bit more obvious are your nuts, and those are always really easy to take on the go. I like pistachios, but I do want to mention that pistachios can hide some carbs. So one serving, which is 1 ounce of these pistachios, has 9 grams of carbs, but there is 3 grams of fiber. So the net carbs is actually about 6. And so, again, I'll go over how I help my ladies figure out their carbs towards the end. But this is going to be pretty obvious, but I love anything with nut butter on it. So I really like to do celery with nut butter on my low carb days. It's going to help, the fat is going to help keep you full. And again, the low carb, it's just such a great low carb option. There's 6 grams of carbs in 2 tablespoons, which will usually go across about 5-6 of celery, which is the perfect amount for a snack on the go to get you through until your next meal. And so this is a really good option. I really like this brand. It's Santa Cruz Organic. It's the creamy light roasted peanut butter. And so that's currently my favorite. And then also just wanted to throw in there a few things that I like to put in my smoothie on low carb days to keep it, again, low carb, and I also have a recipe on my website for the low carb smoothie. But I like to do collagen peptides because all it is just straight protein. And this is the brand that I like. You see me talk about it. I've done a video on collagen peptides and all of the benefits. But this has straight protein, 18 grams of protein. And so I'll add this into my smoothies on low carb days. I add it on top of my protein as well, which I'm going to share with you, just so that I can get that extra protein and get that extra fullness. So these Vital Proteins, collagen peptides, again, I have a video on all the benefits, but so good for your skin, so good for your hair, so good for your gut. That is the main reason that I started taking it. But again, definitely a great option to add to your coffee or your tea and your smoothies on low carb day. And then, okay, so my favorite protein, and again, you guys have seen me talk about this, is the Tone It Up protein. And you actually could only use to get it online, but now you can actually get it at Target. And so this is my favorite protein, and it's completely plant-based. Out of every protein that I've ever tried, whether it was whey or soy or anything else or any other plant protein base, this one is the favorite as far as flavor. I bake with it. I put it in my oatmeal. I put it in my pancakes. I make protein pancakes, and obviously my smoothies. And so the total carbohydrates for this protein is 4 carbohydrates and then 1 fiber. So really 3 net carbs. And then there's no sugar. So this is a perfect option for your smoothies. And again, you can just find it at Target. And so I am also going to share with you a few foods that you may think are low carb, and you may be intaking them thinking that they're low carb, but they're actually not. And so the first one that really shocked me when I started really tracking my macros on low carb day was beans. So especially like black beans. And so one of the dips that I really like for a snack is this Better Bean Co. Uncanny Refried Black Beans. It's so good. They have a lot of other options, but The carbohydrates in one serving of this is 23 grams of carbs. And you would never think that beans have carbs, but they do, and they raise your blood sugar and they increase your insulin release. So be careful when you're on low carb day and you're putting like beans on your salad, or you go to Chipotle and you get no tortilla, but you get lots of beans. You're going to be ingesting lots of carbs still. So that is one of my little hidden ones. And then another one that a lot of my ladies are so surprised when we're going through the teaching and talking about low carb day is fruit, you guys. Fruit is healthy. Fruit is good for you in moderation. It still has sugar. It still has fructose, and it still has carbs, and it's going to raise your glycemic index, and it's going to increase insulin release. And so that is one of the main things that people, when they start tracking their macros, they start eating fruit on low carb day, and they don't understand when they submit their macros why their carbohydrates are so high. And it's because they had a couple servings of fruit. Usually you can work in 1 to 2, 2 is probably pushing it, but you can probably work in a serving of fruit on low carb day. But you want to make sure that it's berries, the ones that are going to have the low glycemic index. And so I think that is really my favorite, kind of my top 4 or 5 low carb snacks. And those are the snacks that I encourage my ladies to intake whenever they're going through low carb day. And then also a few tips for you to stay, or a few things that you need to stay away from on low carb day. And so in order for us to figure out low carbs, what for you equals a low carb day. So usually what you want to do is, if you're trying to have a low carb day and you want to figure out all of your carbs or your low carbs, you want to take the total carbs that you intake minus the fiber. And so that's why we call them net carbs. And so total carbs minus fiber is going to equal your net carbs, and that's how many carbs you're intaking that day. And so I encourage you to, if you haven't tried to, track your carbs or anything like that, start putting it into MyFitnessPal or whatever you want to use, and you can see how many carbs you're actually intaking each day. And you may be surprised. You may be on point, or you may figure out like, oh my gosh, I was eating a lot of fruit and low carb and high fat. No wonder I'm not losing weight. And so that is my little tidbit on low carbs. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. I do have a brand new round of Faster Way to Fat Loss starting on October 9th. We're going to start prep on October 2nd. So if you want to register, I'll put the link below. Again, we go over it every single day. Today is low carb day or today is high carb day. And I tell you exactly how to eat, what your carbs need to be, what your net carbs need to be. And so I coach you through that entire process and guide you through what foods to eat. So if you have any questions, feel free to message me, and I hope everyone has a great Tuesday. Bye.